Oi, yo, everybody. This video here is going to be different from the idea that I was going to put out for my next video, which is going to be about the biblical earth, like the hows to, like, what is the sky, what are the sun, moon, and stars, and what is, buoyancy and density as opposed to gravity as an explanation for why things fall or float. And so that'll be the next video, but I did want to I think I'm going to put out two real quick. It's been a little while since I made one, and I'm sorry for that. I've been a little bit busy, but this one is actually going to be relating to um, the removing evolution from school, um, because as it turns out, I'm not able to write about it for my scientific research paper for school because evolution isn't a science backed by data. It is actually a belief, a dogma taken on faith, an idea taken on faith that is counterintuitive to our everyday observations, because we don't even know that evolution has a start. We've never seen anything change on a macro scale, and you can falsify these claims. You can say, I claim that life will always only be produced by life and non-life will stay non-living, and that's what we get every time we run an experiment. You can say that a bacteria will always stay producing bacteria and will not become mushroom, plant, and animal cells. And there's big complexity jumps that you can say that prokaryote will stay prokaryote, eukaryote will stay eukaryote, bacteria won't become cells, things like this. Um, and then, like, one parent's producing different domains. So these things are all lacking, and so that's why this is a evolution. Evolution is a dogma that does not deserve to be taught in science. Anyway, let's get into it here. This is a email exchange. So that was kind of, I guess, a little update. Okay, now to the video, to what it's actually about. Sorry for rambling. I don't know. I'm gonna probably try not to do that and just be more content focused. Okay, so this is an email exchange that I had with a professor who is he is a professor at Harvard, and his name is Jack. And I will actually I'll play this little snippet of him here, kind of introducing himself and his credentials, because I believe he is the most, um, like, according to people's perceptions and everything, like, he's the most credible uh, person to answer this. I mean, he goes to what many consider to be a prestigious university, or he's a professor there. He teaches on the subject. He's involved with it. He's got hour-long lectures on the subject. And so I'll play his credentials here.
This is Jack Shostak. I'm a professor of genetics at Harvard Medical School. I'm an investigator at Massachusetts General Hospital, where my labs are, and I'm also an investigator of the Howard Hughes Medical Institute.
Okay, so this is the email exchange that I have had with Jack, or up to the most current. And so here is how it starts. I said, greetings, Jack. I am a student at Normandale Community College, and I will be majoring in nutritional cardiology. I'm writing my research paper on our optimal biofuel, exclusively plant-based eating, and I'm going to show how we ascended up the evolutionary tree, maintaining key features that lead us to now being able to do things like reverse the leading cause of death in our country, which there is angiogram proof for. Because this paper will show that we can prevent, and even greater, reverse the leading causes of mortality among us, I take this very seriously and have reached out to very many, including but not limited to multiple professors I have had and not had as instructors, the dean of STEM at my college, professors at the University of Minnesota, where I will be transferring to, the dean at the U of M, professors at Harvard, like yourself, though you are more an expert, and RNA world proponents and professors in New Zealand. I have also gone to institutions um, like the National Science Foundation, National Association of Biology Teachers, American Museum of Natural History, and others. All have provided me with some interesting and striking data, but not of what I am looking for. Can you help me find the data for abiogenesis, where we recreated this life from non-life, and this will also provide the environment from which the life naturally, under artificially recreated conditions, springs forth? I have been told that we have never observed a cell form from non-life. This would mean our corroborating of abiogenesis. Uh, this would mean our observations say life spawns from life and non-life stays non-life. So where's the data to falsify this? I can't write a paper that doesn't have source data corroborating abiogenesis if we don't even know if it is possible, but because evolution is a scientific theory, this requirement of observation of abiogenesis is a must, and that is why I am so confused as to why it is so hard to find this data, to even be told that this data does not exist. Could you please help me? If you would like me to clarify or delineate on anything, I would be happy to, as I really truncated this message. Hope that all is well with you, and thank you for reading, Jack. So that was the first email that I sent, and then he replied, Dear Nathan, understanding the origin of life is an active field of scientific research in which many labs worldwide are engaged. We and others are gradually piecing together the many steps from the prebiotic chemical synthesis of the building blocks of biology to the assembly of the first protocells, which would then begin the process of Darwinian evolution and the gradual expansion of genomic information that encodes useful functional molecules such as ribosomes and proteins. Although we are getting closer, we have not yet been able to build in the lab a replicating protocell. The main limitation in this area the main limitation is in the area of non-enzymatic replication of RNA in a manner that is compatible with the protocell membrane. To be clear, the fact that the creation of life from non-living chemicals has not yet been accomplished does not mean that it is not possible. It is just a complex process that needs a lot of study. I hope this is helpful, Jack. So, I think I want to quickly break down or go speak on something in this message that he says here. Let me see. Understanding the origin of life is an active field of research, which many worlds are engaged. Piecing together. So, if even if you piece together one thing, you need to be able to show naturally that all of these things can happen together. If you do one piece, but that piece, that plateau, or that step in the staircase can't actually be accessed naturally, and then you just say that it's part of it, you have to show that it can naturally swirl together on its own, non-life to life. All of this stuff with like where it says right here, although we are getting much closer, we have not yet been able to build in the lab a replicating protocell. So even artificially using man's intelligence of right now, of this era that we live in, we are this intelligent and we can't create non-life or create life from non-life. We can't put together the steps. Um, you need to uh, you need to be able to show the whole thing should happen naturally, let alone having intelligent design behind it, which is something that evolution tries to go against, is intelligent design. They argue against it, but they're using intelligent scientists to design life. It has to happen naturally. That's no one was here to set up the conditions on a prebiotic Earth, for 3.5 billion years ago. Um, so it's not ever been done. This is yet again, just like other professors, just like other institutions, never been shown. There is no observational data from experiment derived from experimentation to show that it is even possible, which then would allow it to be plausible to suspect that evolution could happen. This is far from evolution being a fact, which will actually come up here in these emails. This is gonna take a turn here. So I respond. If I may ask, why do we teach evolution as theory then, if it is missing essential steps? If we don't know that life can start from nothing, then wouldn't that be a hypothesis until otherwise shown? Why I ask this is because I am writing a paper on the reversal of the leading cause of death, which is medically established and documented via angiogram. It is theory. It has data, protocol, repeatability, has been peer review verified, and follows empirical and methodological science. Evolution is considered a theory in science, which has a different implication than in common vernacular. If one has a hypothesis, they set up an experiment, run the instructions they create, get results, and gather data, then conclude. I should have also put here that it can then be repeated by those who follow those instructions with the same standard or with the same conditions and everything. But anyway, back to the email. A theory needs to go through this, which means that a theory has data. Evolution is taught as a theory, and abiogenesis is needed for evolution. So abiogenesis data is needed for evolution to be a theory. Otherwise, it is a hypothesis, one which doesn't match what we have observed either. I don't mean to be any more critical than science demands, but from an ethical and morality standpoint, the angiogram of plant-exclusive nutrition reversing cardiovascular disease is fact. It is the only way to this point that we as humanity have been able to accomplish this. If this paper is going to show our evolutionary ascent up the Darwinian tree leading to this data-backed angiogram, I need the data from the start to know that we are required to have if this is a theory. Otherwise, how can we have a theory that isn't even based on data? This is the start, and a tree needs a seed to begin. If there is an issue in the RNA replication, then doesn't the idea need to be rehashed and trialed over again with different protocol? I really need this starting data with its environment, and I gathered even from one of your webinars that the environment might likely have been acidic. What if it was alkaline? I need to know because our metabolism is dependent on pH. The stomach acid is acidic, blood is alkaline. How did we arrive at this split? Starting from where? Ideas are one thing and theories in science are another. This is crushing to hear you say that we have no data, as this paper needs to be all data. Science is not a belief, and I cannot have this angiogram be taken as such, nor is this angiogram an idea. It is tested and holds up to the rigorous criteria and critical analysis. How can I talk about our ascent if nothing ascended? I'm not saying that evolution isn't possible, as it could be shown plausible then observed, but it needs to show data for its critical points and claims, as in the ones that defy our observations, like abiogenesis, to be plausible. If What if someone speculates that abiogenesis is impossible and thus falsifies evolution? How can this be falsified now? If I claim that we will get limestone when we mix lead nitrate with potassium iodide, then we mix these two together and reveal a yellow precipitation in water, this would falsify my claim. That's actually wrong. You wouldn't get water. You would get a potassium nitrate aqueous solution. I was thinking of acids and bases. When you mix an acid and a base, you always get a salt and water, and I think I was thinking of that from the pH. This is actually not correct. You don't get water when you mix lead nitrate and potassium iodide. You get lead iodide and potassium nitrate, two separate compounds. One of them is the yellow precipitation. The other one is the aqueous solution. I don't know if he caught that or not. I don't. It doesn't appear that he did, but that I wanted to just correct that. Um, if I claim it is impossible to form a yellow salt with lead nitrate and potassium iodide, okay, so if I claim it is impossible to form a yellow salt with lead nitrate and potassium iodide, this would also be falsified. So if I claim limestone, if I claim yellow salt, um, if I claim it's impossible to form yellow salt, this would be falsified. Empirical science, it's repeatable. To get around an impossibility claim, you need to show what is claimed impossible. Evolution currently is teaching beyond possibility until otherwise shown. Based uh, Based on your input and others, we are teaching evolution beyond what the data permits, and until collected, evolution is a hypothesis. Please, Jack, no. This angiogram is not a hypothesis. It is no longer an idea. It is and its application outside of this academic work is literally life-saving. I also would like to thank you for your response. I would greatly appreciate another. This paper is very important to me, and I really love science. Getting to use it to help my family is so meaningful, because it really is. That's a big reason why I do this. Um, so he says, in response to that, he says, Dear Nathan, first, evolution is a fact. It is a theory only in the sense that it is an overarching conceptual framework. There is a semantic confusion about in the use of the word theory, and most certainly does not mean that evolution is an unverified hypothesis. Evolution is an unverified hypothesis because You can't show that microevolution leads to macroevolution. You can't show that non-life can form life. You can't show that you can get advanced sophistication among your cells and your bacteria and these things. Um, he says, second, the exact nature of the origin of life is a completely separate question. No, it isn't. No, it is not. Abiogenesis is exactly linked to evolution. It's needed, and I've said it before. If abiogenesis was shown, was if we saw it happen in a pond somewhere, and it just happened, that would be at the beginning of every evolution segment of a biology textbook that there is, because it is the beginning. So, and this is conflicting. Then he's disagreeing with the National Science Foundation, and these people. So, but he says, second, the exact nature of the origin of life is a completely separate question. No matter how life got started, once it did get started, it began to adapt and evolve through the Darwinian process of reproduction, variation, and natural selection. Just because we do not understand every detail of the origin of life has no bearing on the fact that the diversity of life is explained by evolution. Best wishes, Jack. Also, by the way, Jack, the diversity of life can be explained by other worldviews. So just being able to explain diversity of life isn't enough to teach your idea as a science, your religious idea, your belief, your dogma, your belief system. Um, so I said, Jack, I would really like a reply. Wait a minute, is this in the right order? Um, you know what, that must be. So I said, Jack, I would really like a reply. Wait, best wishes, Jack. Do I have another? Hold on, I might have to go. I'm checking my email real quick. I gotta see if I missed a cap or a screen cap email. Um. Oh wow, I did. Um. So I'll have to screen capture this. Let me do this real quick. Um. So I sent to him this email here. Um. And I said, so abiogenesis is not needed. How can we start a race without crossing the starting line, or a tree grow without seed? The National Science Foundation and others think abiogenesis, though showing extremely difficult to show and is yet to happen, is the beginning and genesis of evolution, because bio evolves. So abiogenesis is the creation of bio so that it can start evolving. If evolution is a fact, then all components of what evolution needs need to be factually established, including the start. There are other areas of evolution claims that I also have been having trouble with, and while I can't declare impossibility with as much confidence as abiogenesis, from my research, we still have never shown simple prokaryote cells becoming eukaryotes to know that that is possible, as naturally pro stays pro and eukaryote stays eukaryote in lab and all observations. We also have never observed one parent give rise to different domains, like one parent cell having animal cell, plant cell, and fungal cell offspring. This also is the exact opposite, yet somehow extracted with no data by evolution to what we observe. There are other issues as well, like strictly asexual to strictly sexual reproduction, and even what came first, metabolism or reproduction, etc., etc. But all these essential transitions are needed critically. They also have a common denominator of having no data to support them. I say evolution is an unverified hypothesis because you can't supply gathered observations of your claims. Evolution doesn't claim the universal common ancestor uh, was the first. Evolution requires chemical evolution leading up to the universal common ancestor. If other worldviews can explain the diversity of life and are ideas without data supporting the exclusive claims, thus falsifying competing worldviews, then just being able to explain how life now with just being able to explain life now with evolution isn't enough. Other worldviews can do this too, and this isn't even science. Where is the data to show evolution is a fact? And I mean a fact that it can even start. If one claims it's impossible for evolution to happen because it can't even start, you need to show that it can start. It is shown impossible to cross the ocean until you cross it. Excuse me. It is shown impossible to cross the ocean until you do it. You can claim, what I meant by that was you can claim, oh, it's impossible to cross the ocean. We can never cross, or let's just use a lake. It's impossible to cross the lake. You can't cross the lake. It's impossible. It's too far away the shore. If you go get close to the other shore, something will happen. You'll get caught in seaweed or something, and you'll have to turn back, or a current will come in and push you all the way back to where you start. You can say it's impossible to cross the ocean until you do it. Um, so that I sent to him, and then he didn't reply back for a little bit, and so that's where, because it's very strange to me that professors are not willing to help students, because this is legitimate. I mean, this is for a paper that I want to write, but I can't even start because I don't have my starting data for evolution. So um, I then sent him, Jack, I would really like a reply. Please, I am a student and I am aware that evolution is a main foundation to our modern scientific understanding. This is why I am using it for my biology paper for nutritional cardiology. I would like the start of evolution, and it is very important that I have accurate lab extracted or naturally observed data, as this angiogram is that important. If there is no data, then there is no data that there is a start. Isn't that a serious problem? I'm very confused about this, and you are the most credible person based on credentials, and the most likely to have the answers that I am seeking, that I have contacted. Please, Jack, I really could use your instructing information. A trying student. So then he sent me back, and this is so wild. Look, I am not arguing about whether evolution is a fact or not. It's not a debate. Read a biology textbook. So, um, first off, oh, he says, look, I'm not arguing about whether evolution is a fact or not. You shouldn't have to argue. You should be able to provide facts. End of story. It's not a debate, he says. I never said it was. He's the first one to use the word debate. Um, and then he says, read a biology textbook. Oh, with an exclamation point. Oh my gosh. Isn't that something? That to me is to be told to have a professor tell you to read a book. Oh my goodness. So this is this is what I this is what I said back. Um, is that a joke? I have been asking if you have seen. I use the word "seen" here because to see is to observe, which is so big in science. I have been asking if you have seen the textbook, referring to that textbook you told me to read. I've been asking if you have seen the textbook that abiogenesis is contained in, or even a lab report. I am a student looking for answers, not a debate. So that book that he told me to read, I'm telling him I'm looking for that book. You're supposed to have that book. Uh, if he wants to make it a joke, unbelievable. This is not a joke. This is so serious. This stuff is very important. Um, I said, I'm a student looking for answers, not a debate. I need this starting data. Evolution needs to start, and it's foundational to our biology. This angiogram is medically established. That is medically established, needs to be backed and credible. If you say evolution is a fact, then where there is fact, there is data. I have read a biology textbook, a couple actually, and it's pretty fundamental to know that evolution says, speaking for science, which has a method, non-life became alive. So it's a rudimentary thing to say non-life chemical, or there was non-life in the earth and then life, or on the earth and then life happened. So there has to be a transitional point. So that's like a very fundamental, basic, rudimentary thing to know that uh, evolution says, and evolution is speaking for science. This overarching concept of evolution speaks for science. It's the foundation, it's a framework. So it says non-life became alive. Science requires natural observation or experimentation. You told me to read a science, and then I said science requires natural observation or experimentation. It does. And then this is kind of offshooting, but I just said to him, like, just like think about it. Like, you told me to read a science textbook with an exclamation point. I'm a student, y'all. I take classes, okay? Um, I'm talking about something very basic mentioned in all the biology textbooks that discuss this topic. If this paper isn't factual all throughout, this could potentially be interpreted as a belief or another idea of a diet, and this cannot be a fad. This isn't a diet. It is a evidence-backed, clinically supported nutrition. This is a reversal of the leading cause of mortality in our country. These capital letters are to signify importance. This is not a debate if heart disease can be reversed. It is reversible, established. Please do not make this sound like I am throwing around my personal spin on opinion or asking for yours. This is a fact, and facts are what I am asking for. Why do you lower evolution to a debate of which I never asked for? I ask just for factual data when evolution, thus abiogenesis, is a fact, even according to you. You don't believe in evolution by bringing up debate and lowering evolution to debate, but you believe in evolution as a fact, which science isn't belief but uses facts. If it is a fact, so I asked him. So he's saying like by him saying evolution, bringing up debate when talking about the data supporting evolution, he's the one that actually lowers it to this level of opinion that you can debate on, like politics or something. So it's like he doesn't believe in evolution because he doesn't put it to the esteem that he holds it to. But then he says he does believe in evolution because he's like, yeah, evolution's a fact. So technically, you shouldn't even believe in a fact. It's just like with the biblical Earth. You don't know the Earth is not moving, or you don't believe the Earth is not moving. It's tested. It's a knowledge that the Earth is not moving. It's you know it. You know it isn't. So evolution would be it doesn't require belief. It uses facts. Um, and then I say if it is a fact, which is why I'm asking for data because we are taught we are ascending. And then I said, well, actually, it is descending in common vernacular, which is more like Darwinian, which is more Darwinian, like descent of man. But I think ascending is better terminology personally, which I don't like inputting where I am talking or when I'm talking about science. And ascending and descending accomplish the same concept. Because I do say, even if I have to refer to evolution because it's what taught, if I'm using their worldview, I say ascending because it sounds better and maybe it'll descending. They're always trying to push people down, make people insignificant, make people isolated, make them feel like nothing. That's what we spawn from. In the beginning, there was nothing and then it exploded, or now they say it's energy, or we started from non-life, from nothing, no life. And now we are life. So our ancestor is no life, so we should be no life, or this or that. It's very deep spiritual things, and even even beneath the spiritual aspect of it, it's unconscious and subconscious and conscious for a lot of people, how these teachings really work on people, how they make people feel like they're just an accident, which is not true. No one is an accident. Um, and so there's more of my personal spin, which I don't want to talk about with this stuff because this is science. This angiogram is a fact. So then I said, where is the starting? Where is the starting and ascending data? The evolution component of my paper cannot be lacking facts when the angiogram part does not lack factual backing. This is important. This is the important part of my paper, not the evolution part. Evolution is complementary to the angiogram, and the complementary is considered foundational to science, yet it is snagging me. It is really flabbergasting that you would tell a student to read a biology textbook with an exclamation point. Even beyond schooling, I am human. So are you. You are an educator of the sciences. If someone came to you with curious of something, wouldn't you want to share with them? I am very passionate about science, and you seem like the best person to help me with this, Jack, which is why I came to you because I really want to write about this angiogram. And then he said, this is ridiculous. The origin of life has nothing to do with cardiology. I have already told you that the origin of life is a separate problem and one under active study by many people from the understanding how evolution works in modern life. You don't need to know how something started to understand how it works now. For example, the prebiotic chemistry leading to the synthesis of purine nucleotides is still not fully understood, and this is one of the gaps in our understanding of the origin of life. One of the gaps. There's so many gaps. It's all a gap. There's no data. It's all belief. And then he says, however, purine biosynthesis is well understood in organisms from bacteria to humans. There are many such examples. If you are interested in cardiology, that's an inference, by the way, um, to jump. Oh well, we just can't get it to form prebiotically, but once you give us those biotics, okay, now it can happen. So you're in, yeah, it's inference. Um, you don't get to start with what we have because that can be explained by we were designed to synthesize purine. Um, there are many such examples. If you're interested in cardiology and disease, I suggest you concentrate on that and stop worrying about how evolution got started 4 billion years ago. 3.5 actually, technically there, Jack. Uh, Meanwhile, please stop emailing me. You're not listening to anything I say anyway, so just stop. I have already given you my opinion, and if you don't accept it, fine. Wow. Really? So I am listening to what he says because I'm responding to everything he says. And then he says he's giving me my opinion. Wait, I thought it was a fact. Do they teach different at Harvard? Are opinion and fact the same thing? That's going to make politics even more complicated. Um, so anyway, that was the last email that I got from him, and then I did respond one more time. He asked me not to, and typically, like, I'll just say one last thing, and if they want to respond back with one last thing or something, but what I did say is I will not send another reply after this. I just wanted a chance to say last word, unless you respond again, which I would really prefer because I am the student who is pursuing the knowledge I need for my academic work. I am using our evolutionary ascent to show how we have evolved to be plant-exclusive eaters. From my gathering, people resort to rationalizing their nutrition with our hunter-gatherer ancestors, with emphasis on the hunter. And people go back to various fossils that make us out to be meat eaters. In their minds, they are trying to form their stance. Despite the most recent findings showing ancient bones around, say, campfire sites, indicating they consumed plants. I am using our scientific understanding to show how we evolved to eat plants through our whole lineage. It is a chronological work. If you say I don't need to start, then you are saying a tree can form without seed, and asking me to analyze a branch that isn't there. Evolution is not a separate from abiogenesis or chemical evolution on the other side of prebiotic Earth. Evolution is the pivot. Evolution is the pivot and the start. Oh, that's supposed to be abiogenesis. Wow. Wow, that's a big mistake. Okay, so abiogenesis is the pivot and the start. It is the formation of our ancestor tree. I am showing that the whole tree indicates we are plant exclusive consumers with the synthesis of purine. So now responding to what he said, with the synthesis of purine nucleotides or establishing a lipid membrane with selective permeability, or whatever the issues are with abiogenesis, they are ideas. You need to prove the whole idea to show it as science by demonstrating an experiment where life forms from non-life. Otherwise, the cart is before the horse. I can't have ideas to how life could form if it is the start of evolution, and evolution is the base foundation for science, which we now have this angiogram showing the reversal. I need facts to be ubiquitous in my paper, with no room for ideas. How do we have a fact buildup on no observations, and even observations that are counterintuitive to our daily observations? Uh, if I also don't deny that life can synthesize purine, there is coding for life to do such. I am listening to what you say with great anticipation for each and every email, and say what you say back to you. I'd like your opinion another time, ideas and thoughts as well on various topics, but not for my scientific hypothesis in my research paper. I need data, which is why I contacted you. Evolution isn't an opinion, is it? I can assure you, reversing the leading cause of death isn't an opinion. So that is the last email that I sent to him. But basically, again, another professor saying that we have never observed this critical quintessential claim that is absolutely needed for evolution, which is the non-life to life pivot of abiogenesis. So another professor saying we've never demonstrated it. We can't artificially recreate it with all of our intelligence of academia, our scientists and our labs and our technology and our innovation and nothing. So, uh, and on top of that, told me to read a biology textbook, a Harvard professor. Why would anyone want to go there if this is how their professors are when they get their religion questioned? Because his dogma has been poked and prodded and critiqued. He's responding just like people do who have their religion questioned. He seems uncomfortable, defensive, offensive, agitated, and all those types of things. You don't tell a student to read a biology textbook. You're the professor. Okay, you're more than the book that the students read during your class. You know the book that they're reading inside and out and more. And you're telling me to read a biology textbook? Uh, hmm. I'm just gonna end on that one. So thank you all for your time, for listening. Let me know what you think if you want to. Um, I'm up for any discussion or anything, or if y'all want to discuss one another, please do. I always encourage discussion. Please be respectful, though. Don't waste your time being mean when you can be presenting information that can help people progress. Um, everybody, thank you very much. Um, we serve a blessed creator. Jesus Christ is the king. He is the way. He is the truth. And he is the one whose teachings could fix all of the ails of the world. Jesus Christ really is, unconditional love. He is the example, and he uh, was, strung up and uh, rose from the dead to live to defeat our sin. And so, uh, all you need to do is have faith in Him. Evolution, if you are a follower of evolution, it's the exact opposite to the Bible, and there's a reason for that. And if you ever want to talk, let me know, and I'll happy to talk about it and explain a little bit about it. It's a lot. If you got time, let me know, and I can really lay it out. So, yeah. Um, read your books, everybody. If I had to give you advice, read your books, but the Bible's the most important. All right, thank you, everyone. Uh, Jesus Christ be with you all. Have a blessed day or night. What a blessed life is. Peace be with you all. Jesus and Jesus Christ be with you all.